let's learn how to use countif and min and max. We're using some formulas in Excel. So, first off, let's see if we can make a formula to find the earliest game in this document. You might be able to see that I've actually already sorted by the date here. You can click on the arrow next to date. You can sort newest to oldest, oldest to newest, and I can clearly see here that the earliest game is the 24th of March. But formulas are handy because they can do things like this automatically for heaps of different data sets. So let's learn how to calculate the minimum of this column here. There is a formula for the minimum, and that formula is called min. I need somewhere for me to put these formulas, so I'm just going to make these a little bit smaller, and I'm going to put my formulas over here. So I'm going to have a little title here. This is going to be the earliest game. And I'm going to put the answer to that right here. The earliest game, well, the date you can see is the 24th of March, but maybe you've got a data set that keeps changing. People keep adding games to it. Maybe the most recent game changes every week. You know, people are still playing football. So let's use a formula. As I said, the formula we're going to use is minimum. So I can type equals min, bracket, and I want the minimum of all of these numbers. There are a few ways to do it. You can just select some. So I can just show you, maybe select, for example, I don't know, these numbers here. Click and drag. So minimum of D2 to D12, all of these cells here, end bracket, enter, and sure enough, the smallest out of these numbers really is 37. But that's not what we wanted. We wanted the earliest game. So we wanted equals minimum, the minimum of all of these dates, the smallest date, the earliest date. To get the whole column, you click on the letter at the top of the column and then go end bracket. So this is the minimum of the entire J column. Enter. And the earliest game was 40,992. What a silly answer. These things here, these aren't numbers. These are dates. But this has shown the date as a number. Somehow, this date is 40,992 in the way that Excel handles dates internally. But we want it to be a number, don't we? So to fix that, let's click on this cell here and change the format from general and say, we know that this is a date. Yay! And sure enough, it has picked the smallest thing here. And this works even if these are not in order. If I order them by, score or something, it still picks the smallest number in this column. So it's handy when you have a lot of data. Maybe we might want to count something instead. Oh, by the way, I should say, this is minimum. There is also a maximum. For example, I could do, instead of equals min, I could do equals max, and that would be the latest game. Anyway, moving on. We've got the earliest game. Let's look at how many games Adelaide played. Adelaide games. And we'll put the answer in here. Now again, I could go sort by team, A to Z, and count how many times Adelaide appears. If I click on the first one, and then scroll down, and then shift click on the last one, you can see that Adelaide appears 202 times. So let's write a formula that can tell us how many games Adelaide has played. To do that, I just want to count the number of times that Adelaide appears in this column. And to do that, we can use equals countif, open bracket. So this will count how many times something appears. So I want the range of cells is all of column C. And if I click on the letter C here, it will select the whole column C. Comma. The second thing countif needs is what I'm looking for. And I am looking for the string, the text, Adelaide. So I can do a double quote, so a shift apostrophe, double quote, Adelaide, another one again, and then I've got this open bracket here, so I'd better have a closed bracket. Enter. And this has counted how many times Adelaide appears in this list. You may notice that I have sorted this team column by Adelaide. And Adelaide has played 202 games. That's how many times Adelaide appears here. I'm just going to reset it back to sorting by date. And it can still count it. And if I were to change this to be Adelaide, oh look, now it automatically updates. Did you see that? That's cool. I'd better undo because I've just broken my data. What else can we use countif for? Well, we can count the number of weekend games. You might notice we already have a column called weekend. So I can count, if I want to count the number of games that have been played since this date that were on a weekend, I can say, well, let's write what we're going to do. This is weekend games. And then over here, I want to do a count if. I want to look in this column, comma, and I want to look for where the word yes appears. And this will tell me how many cells here have the word yes. Enter. And it says 2,938. So there are 2,938 cells in here that have the answer yes. But there is a problem. Yes appears twice here, doesn't it? Yes and yes. These games are both on the weekend. They're both on 24th of March. They both started at 7:20 p.m., were in the same stadium, had the same attendance, were between the same teams, and had the same margin. Seems weird, doesn't it? Of course, these two rows represent the same game. This is Greater Western Sydney's perspective. They got 37 points. And this is Sydney. They got 100 points. It's the same game, but from two different perspectives. So each game actually appears twice in this whole data set. So for that reason, let's go to this formula here. Click up the top. We need to divide this answer by 2. /2. Enter. So there are actually 1,469 weekend games. I wonder how many games total. Total games. And then let's click here, equals. We already have something to count the number of cells, and that is equals count, bracket, and I can actually count any of these columns because it will just count the number of cells that aren't blank. If I count the number of cells in column C, for example, I'll get the same as if I counted the cells in column L. Because it's just counting cells that aren't blank. Maybe I will choose to I'll do this team, it doesn't really matter, and then end bracket. 0? Oh no. Oh, count counts the number of cells that contain numbers. I should have read the description. So let's try a column that has numbers in it. Maybe the year, end bracket. Cool. So apparently there have been 3,634 games in total. Just to check that, I can click on the first cell here and hold Control and Shift and press the down arrow. And it'll tell me how many there are. 3,634. Yeah. 3,634. Holding Control and doing up, down, left, right is a great way to move quickly around the spreadsheet. Oh no, but there was that problem, remember? Each game is counted twice. So I need to get this answer, go at the end, and do a divide by 2. There we go. So it looks like actually the vast majority of games are on the weekend. Out of about 1,800 games, there are about, 1,500 that are on a weekend. That's a lot. I wonder what that is as a percentage. To do a percentage, I'll say maybe weekend percent will be the title of this. I can click here, equals. So to calculate the percentage, it's this number divided by this number. Well, that would give me a fraction or a decimal. It won't give me a percentage. But if I press enter, it's given to me as a decimal, 0.8 of the games. But converting this to a decimal is so common for people using Excel to crunch data that there's a button for it. See? Percent style. If you don't see this, you might have to go onto General, click the arrow, and then go percentage. There we go. So about 80% of the games were, 81% I suppose, were on the weekend. All right. I hope this has helped you learn a little bit about countif and min and max. I will see you guys next time. Bye everyone.